Everyone. So it's getting very interesting in the Bay of Biscay, and it's amazing to look at the tracks there for just to remind you how challenging it was when they were leaving on September the 4th. It was an absolute nightmare. And it was a test just to get out of town, if you know what I mean. Anyway, the situation now coming back completely different. This being great weather, this approach, you couldn't even ask for better. Although now it's getting very confusing to try and come up with a credible ETA. So you're going to have to bear with us there. I tried to explain it on the previous post about how challenging it is when the last 100 miles is just drifting conditions. So we'll get into that. But you can see also that Avalish is just transitioning the major traffic zone. There you go, just jump forward a little bit then. But he's got breeze. He was in fog yesterday. It was a pretty interesting conversation we had because I directly asked him the question, did you know where the other entrants were, and without letting on anything. And he said, I have absolutely no idea. I believe Kirsten should have finished by now because she was 600 miles in front when he went around Cape Horn. So that effectively means for the last couple of months, Avalish has had no idea where Kirsten is or any other sailors. And I'm not sure about Kirsten's perception now of her own position, but today is the last call in for her, the last scheduled SoundCloud. So that's going to be an interesting question. I will ask her directly. I sensed that she might have heard something on the radio or whatever about a week ago, because she certainly picked up the pace towards the end. But that could literally be because she's getting close to the line now. She's not worried about the reliability of the boat so much, and the conditions have been very good for her, and she's breaking all the recent speed records and so on. So that's kind of cool. But it'll be fun to see what's going on. It's a bit of an epic, a lot of buzz going on here in Les Sables d'Olonne right now, and certainly all the followers. There's some very interesting women sailors that have been watching, of quite considerable note. So we may have some special guests coming in to welcome Kirsten and all that sort of stuff, and we look forward to that. One last thing you can do for us, like and share and all that sort of stuff. So, and actually like the GGR Facebook page, like subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can. It's always good as an indication to see what's going on with the people that are out there, which is really good. And an important one, some new people that are following us now. Yes, we will be live for all of the arrivals. When Simon arrives, we'll be out there doing a simple live commentary, and the same thing again with Kirsten and Avalish. So don't worry, it'll be live here on Facebook, and it'll be live on YouTube as well, so you can follow everything there. And one thing that you can do for us when you're doing that, often when you're watching the lives like this, for instance, you don't share it to all your friends and bits and pieces because this is just a tracker update. But when we're covering the live arrivals, you can share that around the place, whatever, that spreads the word, because it's certainly going to be a big story. It's been an epic race, really challenging, really demanding. I don't need to tell you about it. You've seen what's happening, and now they're nearly home. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, back to the tracker, and we'll get this happening. Also, just remember, we'll possibly do some extra lives. We'll obviously do the scheduled live tracker here that we always do, so you won't, that's a given. But at any time, if we think there's something interesting happening or whatever, we will just pop up at random to give you an update and keep you well and truly informed. The same with the SoundCloud from Kirsten today. We'll put that on as a video clip, so it's on YouTube as well as Facebook, and then we'll transfer that across to SoundCloud, the usual spot to follow all the previous entrants on their SoundCloud. And that's historic, so you can actually go back in time and look at any of the calls. So a bit of fun. All these videos, of course, also on the YouTube bank there of lots and lots of material. So Jeremy, still in the trade winds, having fun, and doing 5.2 knots. That's pretty good. 91 nautical mile days. And yeah, he's well and truly in the middle of it, so nothing's likely to change. You'll notice now he is actually pointing higher. He's getting used to it now. So the wind is certainly forward of the beam, not dramatically forward, because there's still a bit of breeze there. It's probably about 15, 20 again, a couple of meter seas, but he is actually figuring on heading up a bit higher by the look. So coming forward 24 hours till tomorrow, that's about it. Nothing's really changing. It's pretty much the same thing in 24 hours, and the next day on the 28th. Next day on the 28th, we've gone a bit past it there. Okay, that's about it. So again, nothing changes. He's there. As entrants cross the finish line, we will advise all the others. So Jeremy will know, and Goog will know as well. Anyway, typical trade win for Jeremy coming up here to Captain Goog. We can see in the future he might be getting a bit soft there. Yep. So for now, he's got a nice breeze, 5.2. Only did 60 miles in the last 24 hours, and that was because of this light system here that went over him. Good time to look at the big picture on the weather from both angles, from Goog and the three up the front here. This system's nothing dramatic. It's pretty straightforward, right? It's a massive low pressure system. When I say massive, not intense, but it's a big system taking up the whole of the Atlantic here. And you can see it's not strong enough to push anything of substance into the Bay of Biscay. That's why there's such light winds and favourable winds. There's no one complaining about that up here. And for Goog, that's going to be driving his weather. And even though I'll leave it out wide just to show you what it looks like going forward, if we push it forward, it's really going to give him pretty reasonable conditions for the next couple of days. Overall, it's going to drive him up into the Azores, but then you're waiting for the Azores high. Now, there's nothing there at the moment. This is the low pressure system moving around, but we're waiting for the Azores high to push him. He may end up running out of breeze and sitting for a while, waiting for that to come. And you can see here, even in the Bay of Biscay and local area, it's all just driven by thermal gradients, the land warming up and the sea being cooler and things like that. There's just not a lot of pressure happening there. So anyway, we'll go back to Goog and show you a close-up for him for the next couple of days. Here we go. Okay, so that's that one there. I'm just going to bounce it through. You can see still hold the breeze there. He's still going up. He's still going up. I'm just checking. Nope. I hope this is still streaming. So I'll assume it is until anyone tells me differently. So he's going to hold that breeze there for a couple of days anyway. So, but then you can see this is the start of what may become the Azores high. Okay, forming behind him. And that could be good, bad, or indifferent. But just bouncing through, I can see some light stuff coming. So anyway, a bit of a mixed bag for Goog over the next few days, but certainly today and the beginning of tomorrow, he's looking okay. So the next one here, coming into the Bay. This is where all the attention is right now, and very frustrating for us trying to come up with credible ETAs. But Simon's currently doing 3.1 knots. That's not too bad. I'm going to pick it up one more and see if we can manage everything. Yep, looking good. So, 3.1 knots and did 129 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. Kirsten's now dropped off to 1 knot. Okay, she was doing 2 knots previously, but got 121 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. So not as much as Simon. I've forgotten it already. 129. So Simon's picked up about 20 miles. And Avalish has lucked out. He's doing 4.7 at the moment, but he's only done 86 in the last 24 hours. He was about 130 miles behind Kirsten at one stage. We predicted this yesterday. We said that the gap will increase between Kirsten and Avalish, but then Kirsten will slow down and Avalish will pick that back up. And so he'll probably pick up that 30 miles. And by the time Kirsten starts sailing again, with a bit of breeze, they'll be around about 100 miles apart again. So you can see this here rolling over. There's 4 hours. The breeze slowly comes back and Kirsten will start to move again. That's all pretty cool, but you can see Avalish has still got more breeze behind and he'll be closing that gap. Simon's then going to run into a bit of a hole here, so he'll slow down. And to give you perspective, I mean, they're not far away from the Sable d'Olonne. This is the big deal. And in fact, I should have gone on to the leaderboard to explain this. As of now, Simon's only 110 miles from the Sable d'Olonne. Normally, that would take him about 20 hours, right, to get there. But it's not quite like that because there's not going to be much wind. and Kirsten's the same. So at the moment, 180 miles, that's a big day for her, and she could be there. But it's not working like that. So just coming through to try and explain how tricky it is. If you watch that, that she's been doing 1 or 2 knots, then it's slowly picked up. Here she's going to be doing probably 5 knots. Abolish is doing the same, but it's not going to last very long. It's probably, there we go, this is by tomorrow. Okay, so this is, well, there we go, that's 24 hours ahead. So over that 24 hours, I reckon Kirsten will probably do maybe 80 miles. So that's going to put her, put her maybe around about here, around about there, so 80 miles. So by this time tomorrow morning, she'll be about between 100 and maybe 80 90 miles from Les Sables d'Olonne. And Abolish will be about 100 miles behind her. So Abolish will be back here, round about there, okay? So now to try and imagine this, I wonder if I can go up one more size. I think I can, because there's a few challenges now to try and come up with ETAs. So imagine Kirsten in 24 hours, she's going to be around about there, okay? So try and imagine that. And then it gets very tricky, because as we progress the weather through, you'll see it's getting lighter and lighter. It's all just disappearing very quickly. This is in 6 hours. The disappearing act's coming up from the south, so depending on her course can also affect her speed. If she stays up high and comes across here, she's going to hold the breeze longer before she comes in. I think she'll possibly come down a bit lower, but you don't know. So if she does come lower, she will go slower. And then this light patch coming across is just going to park here. Come in. Yes, we're having a big meeting here in a minute. So yes. I'm just live at the moment, talking trackers and ETAs. So, but you can see the size of the hole is quite big, and it's going to stick around until the morning of the 28th. So they've done very few miles. This is 8 o'clock in the morning. And so it's literally getting really hard to predict, because what happens is this graphic could be so wrong, it's not worth knowing about. There's a lot of local area stuff that happens here, depending on the time of day as well, in the morning and the evening, but the pressure systems this graphic can't show that, right? So it's like becoming guesswork, no matter what we use or what definitions we have. And so if you read my post before this live, I talk about the challenges. And anyway, you can see by 6 o'clock in the evening on the 28th, you've got this sort of headwinds coming up, so they'd have to be tacking and stuff. So and this is changing. This has already changed. The forecast here that I'm looking at now has changed since 6 o'clock this morning. So generally, we're saying that Simon could be in sometime tomorrow afternoon, okay, if he's really lucky with the weather. The weather's suggesting he won't get here until tomorrow night or just on dusk, all right? And if that happens, he's already said he's going to wait until the morning, which will be Friday morning, just so he can come in daylight. Kirsten, on the other hand, it appears that she may have a chance of getting in by dusk on Friday. If that's sort of the best conclusion I can come to. It's more likely that she'll be a little bit later than that during the evening, and then it'll be up to her to decide what she wants to do, or she could just still drifting, because if we come back here to the 28th, you can see the 28th. This is Friday night. Oh boy, okay, so the breeze is filled in now. This morning there was a big hole there. There was no wind at all in close. But now that's sort of midnight and there's a headwind. So that's just as bad, because that means she'll be tacking, right? So yeah, he's pretty tricky. I hope you can understand the challenges. That's probably enough of an idea. There's not a lot more I can talk to it, to try and explain the weather. It's just too benign, too highly localized, too many land sea effects that are going to produce funny things, like even this prediction here, this breeze, where's it coming from? Because if you look at the bigger picture, there's just nothing all around it. This is an assumption coming down from the gradients of the land sort of thing. So yeah, really challenging. Anyway, exciting times. We'll look forward to keeping you updated. And the other thing that's happening is this thing to introduce all the team. It's going to happen now. We've set a timeline for tomorrow. So after tomorrow morning's tracker, pretty well straight after that, all of the team, going to get online. We're going to have a bit of a natter, not an interview, but I'll pose some questions, and then you'll get to know us a bit and see what's happening. So thanks for following, and we will see you tomorrow.